they were looking for in EUL, and LFO have been getting hotter as the stage has gone by. Mowgli doing absolute magic for this team. Let's get into operator bans, Tim, and see which operator shall not be joining us here today in Villa.
MNM will take our first attacker, and it's going to be Twitch that goes off the board. Interesting choice there. We've seen some sort of funky bans coming in from MNM from time to time.
Every time you say funky bans, Lycan's ears start burning. I've been told this is a thing.
I'm sure it does. That's going to be another one joining the list. LFO joining the list of people who want to ban Away Ying, seeing her ban rate go up slowly. In line with the attacker repick, really, and the surprise factor. And now we're going to move on. Shock. Now we're going to move on to our defenders. Valkyrie the first, no shock.
Not at all. I think the Twitch ban's actually a bit of a target ban coming in against. I think it's P4 that played it historically. Remember him dropping inside of Oregon basement, killing 3 people back on Monday on the Twitch? Yeah, just P4 things, just Twitch things, no matter what you want to say about it. Taking it away is going to be a good thing. Ying getting banned away by a number of teams. MNM banned it on Monday as well. So for LFO to double up on that just again shows, like you said, Tim, the strength we're seeing of it. And the last 2 bans, Valkyrie Mira, pretty standard on a map like Villa. Let's get into it then, because it's LFO starting on the attacking side. And for those of you who look at this map and think, well, Villa tends to be attacking sided. Sure, maybe that's a good thing coming into this for MNM, but attacker repick is throwing a number of things into whack at the minute. We'll see how this first half plays out. But for MNM, you're looking to get at least a good 3 rounds on the board here, especially given how the last couple of Playdays have been going.
We're going to start things off in Aviator Games for round number 1. Then it's going to be MNM on the defence. And interestingly, they're going to open up all of the study wall there. I don't think we're going to see any reinforcement potentially on that side. So that's an interesting one. It's going to leave it susceptible to a little bit of soft breach potentially. We've got the Rotero drones on the side of Bibu, but there is a mute jammer that we spotted just in behind the wall, round about where Users is now. In fact, he's running in and getting that reinforcement in place. That's why I was commenting on it, because I thought it was a little odd that we wouldn't be seeing that. I thought maybe the mute jammer in behind stopped the Rotero from opening it up, but no, they're going to reinforce that off, and that makes a lot more sense for the setup. I would imagine we're going to see mostly master bedroom sided pressure coming in from LFO, but they're also sending Shinka out towards that study balcony.
Absolutely. Let's see then how things square up here, because they could just start a couple out on towards the study. As you say, Mowgli has been the go-to entry for this team for, well, since the start of the stage, really, and it's really added a bit of bite to their attacks, where last stage and most of last year, it already came down to P4 being the surprise factor for this team. Now you've got P4 plenty capable of killing 2 or 3 people in a round, and the same from Mowgli, who has been pretty scary. Interestingly, had before the last Playday the lowest survival rate in the entirety of the league. Yep, even ahead of teams that have players on that are getting slaughtered against other opponents. He has one of the lowest survival rates in the league, but I think now that's slightly improved after Monday. We'll see how long he lives through this game.
Maybe needs to carve himself a channel of high risk, high reward, and see if he can at least make those deaths count. Now then, Users is hanging on to that Nitro. Out it comes onto the frame. It's not going to be able to do any damage to P4, who gets on the opposite side and is able to use the building to block out the damage. 2 pushing towards Study at the minute, but Neo needs to be dealt with. The ADS is going to go. Flashes have rained in, but Neo is still in a position on the Jaeger to be able to fight here, should Shinka push in along with Rise to Study. They haven't got themselves established inside there yet. Mowgli is on the window, so everything is shaping up towards this Study side. There they go. They take the shots onto Neo. Don't find the kill. Solotov does open one up onto the window, but Rise manages to get himself a double into sight and into the corridor and main stairs. Make that 3 before he's shut down with a big Users double, and the kills are flying right now.
Just back and forth between the 2 teams, but ultimately it's MNM down in the man disadvantage. Tyrant, normally the go-to entry for this team, is the last one left standing against P4 and against Bibu. Knows there's one hanging out in the window just outside here. Wants to be very careful on the swing as he goes in for it. The second man recovering the diffuser and doing a little bit of drone work. I like this as well from LFO, holding one angle, the other's on the drones, making sure they can get inside of sight, because realistically, they've got everything to play for. They've got time on their side, but Tyrant finding one. Now it gets messy, because Bibu is left alone by himself, can still look to get the diffuser down, but the problem is, where is Tyrant going to step in? Because it's very quiet inside of Villa right now, Tim. He's stepping in towards the side. C4 in hand, coming out over the top. Nope, not quite to be the case. And Bibu finds the shot. Down goes Tyrant, but my God, was that closer than it had to be.
Well played from Bibu there, just using the audio cue of that diffuser going down just to bait Tyrant into that fight. Tyrant didn't really have a choice. He had to make a move. He had to do something. But on such low health, it was always going to be difficult. I think he was hopeful with the throw of the Nitro that it might remove the need for a gunfight at all. But no, Bibu, his experience comes to the fore there, takes him away from the diffuser, finds that kill. And that was all attention towards Study from LFO. I did expect to see a little bit more pressure from the side that we now look at, the new site, which is Statuary and Trophy. But no, nothing really came through there. They were happy to just push in numbers into Study. Rise basically opened up the round by getting in there with a big 3K. It just made things so difficult for Eminem. Not only have you lost 3 players, you've lost Study, you've lost Mainstairs, you really are going to struggle from that point.
Rise had an absolute field day, just chewing his way through the top of main and through Study. Lots of damage being done. The 3K at least was finally traded out. It did take a while, but they get there in the very end, but he'd already done the damage by that point, Tim, and basically won that round for LFO. Up here on the top side of the map, though, we have got Nello bringing along the Clash, an operator that we're used to seeing playing inside of Astro and doing a little bit of contention out towards Bathroom, down towards the stairs, just slowing the attack down and really keeping them penned in behind that single doorway in towards the Bathroom, wasting a bit of time, and with a little bit of support may well help his team find a couple of kills.
Very possibly. Immediate progress from LFO. Look at that, Bibu not messing about whatsoever. He's gone straight in. This is a big rush through into Astro. He might just catch them out here. The Clash is there ready to be challenged. There's one on Astro stairs that he doesn't necessarily know about, but Neo does get down. People are going to find the kill, but Solotov comes in big. Gets not 1, not 2, but 3. Taking down over half of LFO in a fraction of a heartbeat. Shinka, Mowgli, they slam the brakes on as they start to get the drones out and just see what they can find. See what pieces they can pick up from this demolished rush.
They rolled the dice, Tim, and sadly it landed on a 1. It didn't turn out the way they were looking for. Sure, they get a couple of kills in the process, but you've lost 3 on your charge in. You've lost your nades in the process. Like, your literal 3 entries are off the board at this point. You've now got Mowgli kind of playing this more supporting role, I guess, even though he's on the Iana. They're trying to piece together an attack, but the problem is you're also facing off against the Clash still. That wasn't dealt with in the rush and was the primary target. It's what they'd been charged in looking for, but simply couldn't pick him up. Solotov doing loads of damage from the top side of Statuary there.
Mowgli's going to just take a second, take a breath, get onto that Gemini clone and send it in. Shinka on the drone as well. So this is all about information right now for LFO. The thing is, the one thing they've got in abundance is time. They don't need to rush this. 1.5 minutes to go. Nade is going to be unsuccessful as Mowgli just launches it across. As you say, it was his last-ditch effort and he's not going to find any damage with it, so there's nothing for it but to take gunfight. Tyrant's ready, plants his feet and finds the kill. Shinka sends over the flashbang, but it's going to be like throwing a stone into the ocean, Des, as there's just absolutely nothing that he can do. Shinka shut down as he moves in. That's going to be the final kill coming across from Trophy, and that is the first round for MNM. It's going to be 1 apiece.
It is indeed. I mean, that one's a Hail Mary, right? If you get inside of Astro and just break open that Clash straight away, you've basically got sight for free. MNM are left reeling, but they just didn't expect... It's again the shield thing, right? We spoke about Ossa back on Monday. We saw Kendra on the Monty earlier doing exactly the same thing. You've just seen the Clash doing it here. These shield operators just draw so much attention. They're like magnets or taunts. You just get pulled towards them, and by that time, someone else is swinging you. You've got no expectation that it's coming. You'll see it again here as well. Again, very little expectation. They had one idea, at least the first man did, but by then the call, I think, was a little bit too late, and Solotov was just ready and waiting. Crosshair in place, a beautiful 3K.
Well, he barely had to move it, did he? He just went round the corner and just held mouse one and just hit them in a line one after another. The thing is, when you're in a rush like that, it's quite difficult sometimes because the tunnel vision kicks in and each player is individually just focusing on what they need to do and where they need to go because they need to be there so quickly. It's easy to actually stack up in a line like that without really noticing or realising it, and Solotov able to just take full advantage of that. Interesting placement on the bulletproof camera there, just inside of the bookshelf. Going to make it difficult to take down, almost certainly going to need utility. The melee shot will be able to smash the glass and stop it from being useful because you won't be able to see through it anymore, but not an easy one, that.
You see it on Chalet a couple of times as well, and Piano in the bookcase at the top. You can punch out the books and plant it in the back of there, see straight down towards the library hall, and no one can do much about it. Even nades are hard to land onto it because of the angle of destruction you get. You basically got to get a gun 6 at it or get right up in front of it, which is kind of not the point. The Bulletproofs have someone punching it in the face. You've already lost control of the ground. The intel's not going to help you all that much. Let's see how the round plays out, though. 40 seconds in already, and we've got LFO moving at quite a bit of pace, already looking straight in towards the site here. Mowgli, the kind of spear of that charge, as usual.
Mowgli's just going to be heading out of the master window, likely heading over to the study window where we saw him last time. But LFO definitely bringing much more of a north-sided presence this time. Tyrant's on a little bit of a lurk underneath. I'm not sure that Mowgli's aware of him. He's going to be heading up instead to that study balcony. So just wants to apply a little bit of south-sided pressure, maybe just to take the eyes away from the trophy statuary side whilst the rest of the team make their way over there. But Shinka is slowly but surely heading over to study balcony as well on the Hibana. So he's going to be there to open that wall up potentially and just get a line of sight all the way down deep into the bomb site. Bibu clearing out utility. So Bibu's actually managed to move in from trophy statuary side, get himself established inside a 90. He's in long corridor at the minute, and he's potentially going to challenge onto elbow pretty soon.
Kind of took that control around that 90 side, top red quite early on, and then thought, okay, let's all move around and rotate ourselves down south. So you had 3 trying to push in here, but Solotov hits a pretty nasty shot straight through onto that study balcony and decimates Rise from the round. The deaths we're talking about, the number of times Rise is getting caught on the entry. You've seen it now a couple of times come in here. It's not looking the strongest for him. As that time starts to whittle down, though, that last 60 seconds settles in. We now know where they're all looking to hold. Again, 2 on the red side, 2 on study side, so the attack is pretty evident. Tyrant could be the real thorn in the sides of LFO, though, here, because him still being on the downstairs, he can come up any staircase that he chooses. It's why they've had to Airmad, what am I on about? Nomad air jab things down.
I prefer that name.
It's Airmad's the one, because it does make you mad when you're getting blasted apart by him, sure. Here we go, though. Shinka finding one more in onto Neo, so LFO still down in a man advantage, but at least a small bounce back from Shinka.
Tyrant is still that potential factor here. He's the what you would call a man over. He's the extra man, and they don't necessarily need him, so he can play very freely here, but he does need to watch the clock and make an impact before it runs out. Shinka is going to find users. Bibu onto Nello and Tyrant. It's now or never. This is your time to strike. He's going to play underneath and hope to be able to deny this attempt to plant, but it's just very unlikely because he doesn't know exactly where it's going down. He doesn't have the information, and Shinka's going to stick it. He now has to get seen coming up red stairs. There's no chance for him here. P4, easiest kill of his life. Led down behind the maps. He's got the information that he's coming red stairs. It is as easy as that. There you go. Good night, and that's going to be LFO closing out round 3.
They just walked through site there. It was basically the 3 versus 4 at the one point. They just kind of march in. Tyrant's the one still lurking off on the downstairs. I think because he's expecting to be the entry like he normally is, he's hoping someone's going to come and contest the downstairs and meet him down there. But so far, LFO have just ignored him and said, yeah, forget about that Roma, forget about going on the downstairs and trying to clear him. Let's go direct to site and worry about the rest a little bit later into the round. So Tyrant really yet to find a big impact in this game, which is unusual. Normally, he is the big high flyer for this team, getting involved in all the entry engagements, really getting Eminem involved in the start of a round. But so far, a little bit quiet.
The problem for Eminem here, of course, is that they're on the defence as well. I don't want to necessarily roll out that old Villa is always defender-sided, because it's not always. We see the attackers having, reasonable success. Now it's, I think, got a lot closer to 50-50 than it's ever been. But still, what I would say, if you come away from the defence with less than a 3-3, that's a bit of an L. At that point, really, I'm not going to say that you should be coming in and commanding 4-2 every single time on the defence. I don't think that's really the case anymore, but 3-3 is going to be a problem. Solotov just applying a couple of laser gates up there on the top floor, so there's going to be a lot of focus from MNM here towards keeping hold of the top floor trophy, statuary, master, that sort of area. They've got these okay before we throw you back over, but we're obviously feeling pretty confident because we're back in the lobby.
Okay, so they are sticking with those picks that we saw then. Excellent. Because this looks like a spicy lineup. You've got the 2 shields. I know some will look at Ossa and go, well, not really what you think of when you think of a shield operator, Des. You can deploy them, sure, but you can still play her like a shield operator. Sure, she can't shoot, but she's very good at getting up in your face and drawing a bit of attention and time away. So look forward to how that one plays out. It is that dining and kitchen site once again. As mentioned, not a lot can change here. Same ops as before. So I'm really excited to see what play LFO have got in their back pocket, because on these more difficult to attack sites, that's when we've seen Attacker Repick bringing out some really spicy setups.
Solotov going to be opening up those lines of sight there, using the one punch of Aruni to just go through the soft wall. It's going to give an angle all the way down from Astro into the main corridor that goes into Memorial. We've got the same couple of laser gates that I was talking about last time around, going to prevent progress from 90 and from Wolf Window from getting in towards Trophy. Just going to help the defenders up there to try and lock down that area. Make sure that there's as little vertical pressure inside as sight for as long as possible. Now then, this could be an interesting one. We've seen this Nitro used before. Nope, you've missed your chance, users. It is too late. I don't know if he was waiting for a sound cue or what, but he's going to keep hold of it. That's not the end of the world. Keep the utility there. But yeah, there was an opportunity there potentially. Now then, what's going on here, Des?
They're playing Shields. It's Nino time. You know exactly how this one goes. In they come. This time marching their way through red. There's no station yet to arrive into, but at what point do they pull in? It's about now. Charging the way through a barbed wire to begin with. It slows down for a second as the brakes turn out to work just fine, but Solotov finds one. They're slaughtered both on the push in. IQ's gone. The Blitzer's gone. So now it really all comes down to P4 and what he can do. Playing on the Ossa. They don't know about the man in the back corner. Not droned out. Not aware. Diffuser's down inside the site. There's only 2 left for LFO. Their second rush round, it looks like, is not going to work out here. There's only one less standing, and it's Bibu.
Absolutely not. I think it's time to put that rush back on the shelf and leave it there until the next matchup, because MNM have shown that they are capable of standing up to it. Solotov getting the entry kill once again. Big game for him so far. That's 2 rounds in a row with the entry as well, just giving MNM that big advantage inside of the round. And right now, it's all up to Bibu. 1 versus 4. There is little that he can do except work his way across the top floor. He's got time on his side, but that's about all that he's got on his side, because at the minute, he's got 3 sharks circling ahead of him, just waiting for him to show himself, for him to peek forward and to give them the opportunity to take him down. He's working across the top because he has no choice. If he goes directly to sight, as he may try to do now, you're going to see exactly what happens, and it ain't going to be pretty, because he's going to be working against vertical angles. You can see the Malusi directly up above him. It's going to be Tyrant who's got an angle down into Memorial, I think, just waiting for that opportunity to take the shots at him. They know exactly where he is, and there's very little Bibu can do here.
Really trying to bait Eminem's patience here and get them to swing onto him so far. It's just not going to be a thing. They're playing quite disciplined. Holding back, not looking for that KD stack, but there we go. The vertical angle comes into play, as you state him. They get the shutdown, and it's another round for MNM. My only real concerns here are that both of those rounds have come from shutting down a rush, which again is fair play to MNM, but for LFO it feels like you're almost, again, rolling a dice when you're playing perfectly fine in normal rounds and winning comfortably. Why are you chancing it all on a rush?
Take it back to normal mode. That's what they need to do. Like you said, why give Eminem that? If you're winning anyway, if you don't need that shock factor, if you don't need to surprise them, just take the rounds that you can. And that is the minute for LFO is everything when they play it strategically, when they just, play with a measured pace and go in there. They are getting them done. So 2-2, Eminem are holding on at the minute. LFO, I think, have been the stronger team realistically, but have just handed Eminem a couple of rounds. I'm not saying that it's all been gifted to them, but those couple of rushes have certainly given Eminem a little bit of a breather, because they've been prepared, they've been ready for it. So this time around, we're going to be on trophy statuary. Eminem, they're going to look to get their 3rd round here. I think if they can come away with at least 3, they'll at least be satisfied with that. 4 will be a score.
Absolutely, and P4 pulling out the special here as well. It looks like the Nook going to get locked in. We'll see where he's going to go crouch walking. Normally on this map, we see it a lot actually in APAC North now, think about it. A lot of Nock players that just go crouch walking through basement, pick a staircase, and come walking up it and see what they can find. So maybe he starts out down there. Okay, no, starting out on the ground floor instead. Could be looking to get straight down into Pantry Stairway and work his way up from there, mind you. So he should be pretty much a solo operator once they understand that the path forward is clear.
Mowgli going to be taking out the window, very conscious of the study window as well. Doesn't want to be getting himself peeked from across there. P4 has managed to knock his way into kitchen pretty quickly. He's sat inside the pantry at the minute, just going to draw on ahead of himself and then potentially push through and move up Astro stairs. Could be a little bit of a surprise package for MNM if they are not expecting it, but the rest of them are all crowded around Master, and it's not going to be a rush, but again, it is a concerted push at the same time. time, and Solotov, he's going to find Mowgli for his third entry in a row.
He also had the entry in round 1 and missed round 2, but he's got at least 4 entries, which is ludicrous in just 5 rounds. Really high flying at the moment, Solotov, and shutting down that initial aggression. We spoke in the early game about Mowgli's addition to this team and how it really gave them an extra tip of the spear alongside P4. So while P4's off on the map doing his own thing, Mowgli is meant to be the man finding some space for them, but there he runs straight into his death, and the rest of the team is now ground to a halt.
Nello just trying to close off that line of sight that's been opened up by the Selma chargers of the Ace, just trying to prevent the long angle in towards sight, and also to feed information back in. What have we got in Master? What can I see on the window? What is the push looking like? For now, Rise is going to hop on into the bathroom, challenging onto the stairs there, so likely aware that somebody's playing there. It was Neo last time around on the Jaeger. I'm not sure if it is this time, but he's going to have to dip away as the nade comes in. Users manages to get the kill onto P4. That's going to be the knock shut down. Nitro goes out, almost takes Rise down, but it's just behind him, doesn't quite catch his heels, and Rise is going to continue fighting with the man on Astro stairs while Tyrant takes a ton of damage coming into the final minute.
They've got to start their push forward here at this point. That's what you're looking for. Another one coming in. Solotov at 3k. He's on one today, Tim. This is the kind of stuff we saw back at SI out of him, and much for much of CL prior as well. An absolute demon in the server some days. That's why MNM sometimes get called Solotov and Marshmallows rather than Molotov and Marshmallows. And today is definitely more of the former. Nello on this clash as well is going to make life absolutely sufferable for Bibu. He's going to have nothing to do with it anymore. They know this round is pretty much done and dusted. So for LFO, this is a bit of a timeout. And whether through Crank or through Crook, they've found their way to potentially 3 rounds on the board here, Tim, again, in a game where it felt like for the most part they simply wouldn't be able to find this.
The good thing for MNM is that they are getting the rounds done even sort of against adversity. You know, LFO have been a strong team. When they haven't rushed into sight, they've been able to close MNM down well, but MNM have kept themselves fighting and somehow find themselves on top, and that's really not going to be the end of the world for them. Whether it's down to Solotov, whether it's a team effort, however you want to look at it, it is still good progress for them. 3-2 guarantees them an even split and an opportunity to take an advantage into the second half, which is much more what they would have been looking for from the defence on Villa.
Just wild. I mean, I don't want to draw any big conclusions just yet, but this has always been part of my frustration with LFO is one week they can, even one Playday in the same week, they can look like the best team in the competition. They can be absolutely lights out. They can look phenomenal. And then the next Playday, you get a completely different team, like you're seeing now, that is just simply playing some of these rounds very strangely. The 2 rushes we've seen, Mowgli pushing ahead of his team, the lack of droning in those rush rounds as well to get them prepped up for the actual rush itself. It just feels like they want to skip steps and just assume, okay, well, we know what they're doing and we know what our strat is, and that's enough. We can just push forward and make ours happen, and it's biting them in the backside. I really want to see them get some more composure about them. Look, you're on the attacking side. It's not the end of the world, but you have no guarantee of how your own defenses are going to go. And if you lose this one to MNM, given how everyone and his dog are beating MNM right now, you're going to be really kicking yourself, because this could be the kind of game that means they don't make it to the major.
Certainly could be. Final defensive round for MNM, and LFO are going to be looking to right a few wrongs here and get things to 3-3 on the half, I would imagine. It's going to be Aviator games this time around. We've seen a variation of pushes from LFO so far. We've seen the completely study-focused push. We've also seen Bibu working in through Trophy Statuary. We'll see what we get from them this time. We haven't really seen too much of an attempt on main stairs from inside of the main door, so it'd be interesting. I mean, this is exactly where P4 and Bibu are shaping up towards at the moment, where you head up the stairs, clear out the man there, push into study at the same time, and just take over the south side of the map from there. It's going to be up to Nello to try and hold on. He's got a Banshee, he's got a shield, he's got an ADS, he's got a mute jammer, he's got everything that he could possibly need.
Alrighty. No funny business this time around. The Flora is actually slowing things down a lot more, and we spoke about that desire to see them play air quotes more normally. And it feels like with the Flores on side, you are kind of forcing the team to a slowdown there because you need to get those 4 drones out. You need to get rid of critical utility. So at least now we know they're droning, whether it's info droning or let's blow up as much stuff as we can kind of droning is besides the point. It's droning nonetheless, Tim. So I'm enjoying that it is at that slower pace, and this should yield good results for LFO as long as they stay composed.
Mowgli just trying to work the vertical nades there, not going to find anybody damage-wise, but may well take down some utility along with them. Shinka, look at him just snaking the Rotero drone in there, trying to keep it behind cover as much as he could, stop it getting taken out this time. Mowgli does find some feet, and he finds the man Solotov. He's had plenty of entry kills, but he's now going to take an entry death there, and Neo just being chased deeper and deeper as the push comes up the stairs. Mowgli manages to get Nello second in the round. That leaves Neo all alone. He's taking damage as well. Users, he finds Shinka, leaves us now in a 4 versus 3. 1 minute 20 left on the clock, and this is lightning fast from LFO again. They're not really moving slowly at any point during this game, and Rise, he's looking to push through into Study now. They've got south side control, and this is not going to be easy for the defenders that are left on the side of MNM. Users down to 1 health.
I don't mind the pace here because it's all playing off things, right? They knew that they couldn't have the man on stairs run back to the top of the stairs because a Flores drone was there, about to explode like Mowgli's doing right now. A 3k in the round. Sees one more, but Rise steals it away from him. Gets it and gets the 4th. It's a 4k for Mowgli in the round. Again, Tim, we called for it. A little more composure, a little more control. And these rounds look solid for LFO, but they will end that half at a 3-3 split.
Where was that LFO in round 4 and 5? That's my question, because they just looked absolutely unstoppable then. What an attack it was from, they had a bit of everything. They had vertical nades for free kills. They had Mowgli 4K. They had pace. They had, the thought to actually slow that down as well. They had that pace. They came in, they got the stairs, they got the south side, they got Study, but then they just hit the brakes for 10 seconds. Couple of drones, bit of information. It was just so measured, and it was so good from LFO. Now, we'll see if we can carry that momentum onto defense. They're going to find themselves in round 7, and they too will take Aviator games to begin.
I do want to touch again on that Flores drone on the main stairs, because we haven't really seen a Flores drone used like that much. It's more for like getting rid of shields and banshees and you name it. Again, with it being at the top of the main stairs meant that the man that was sat lower down on the main stairs couldn't run back up to get away, else he'd have died to the drone. So he was forced to stay and fight. That's when LFO said, right, now go. 2 players push from the bottom of stairs. Sure, one gets down, gets res straight up back by Finker again with Mowgli on the Finker. It was just a beautiful little bit of team play, and again, a very unique one that you don't see all that much coming out of a Flores. Wonderful stuff. Let's see how MNM fare on their attacks.
I think they're going to have to bring, a little bit of pace. I don't think that they can go too slowly at this LFO side. They've proven that they're ready for the gunfights today. So I think MNM need to sort of go at them with the same sort of shock and awe, really. Get in there and find some kills and just let them know that they're in for a torrid time on defense and that they're going to get roughed up just like MNM have been at times. Rise is going to be the man trying to hold down those main stairs. He's going to be buddied up with Shinka, so he's got the smoke in tow as well. Got the utility on the stairs. Not quite as much as Nello had. There's no shield in place, but there is a Banshee and ADSs as well. Nello looks like he's actually going to be moving underneath, and he may be the man to challenge onto there. And P4 just looking for a sneaky kill through the hatch there, but I think he's either too late or there's going to be no joy for him.
One thing we haven't touched on here is the lack of a hard breach as well on the side of MNM. Yes, they've got the hard breach gadget, but this is very reminiscent of what we saw from Stage 3 Rogue last year, where they kind of came to the map and said, right, we have a countdown at about the 70-second mark, 3, 2, 1, we push site, we jump in, we run through doorways. We don't really care too much about getting walls opened up. And it's really weird for a map that normally revolves around so many reinforced walls. You'd think you'd need some kind of hard breach on this map, but teams, or at least a couple of them, are showing that isn't strictly required. They've got all their focus currently going on to main stairs. Nades galore being tossed up there, but they haven't really found much with those first 3. They're all gathered around, just waiting for something to happen here. But boys, you're the ones that's got to make something happen.
Rise floating like a butterfly there and showing us his fancy footwork, just able to dip and duck up and down the stairs, keep himself out of the way of those nades, and he's wasted more than half of the round before MNM can start getting themselves established. They have now done so. They've got the south side. They can work their way into 90 corridor if they wish, and to Study, but Mowgli, he's going to find the opener onto Solotov. Second in a row that we've seen that exact combination. So Solotov going from hero to zero on those entry battles at the minute, with Mowgli coming out on top at the minute. Users, however, he's going to make his way up the red stairs. Does he know there's one there? Yes, he does. Bibu on yellow ping. Nice and easy for Users to pre-fire. 45 seconds left to go. MNM need to get moving in towards tight.
I've just got my sheet again. It's either Solotov or Mowgli finding the entry, and all the ones that I have got filled in was the exact inverse. So Mowgli getting Solotov the last 2 rounds. Before that, it was Solotov getting Mowgli for 2 of his 4 entries. It's just back and forth between these two, and the numbers show it. A double kill for Mowgli, steps in, swings out and gets another as well as Nello comes swinging in. Can't quite hit the shot. start to 3k for Mowgli in the round. LFO looking to go towards a first round victory, make it a quad, but Tyrant finally steps in for the trade. How do you shut down players like Mowgli, Tim? They just win every single gunfight they step into. Tyrant stepping into sight, a 1 versus 3. He knows he's got to find the kills. He can't try and stick the plant here. Finds one and a bit of a cheeky pre-fire in towards Volt. One more sat behind it, needs to find his man. Sees the head. Can he go and get the kill? No, he can't, because he'll have to plant straight after as well. Simply not enough time. LFO get round 7.
Eminem needs to start going into Mowgli mob-handed. That's the only way that they're going to get this done. At the minute, he is not challengeable in a 1v1. Nope. We've seen that. He is winning fight after fight. You just said it yourself there, Des. How do you shut down a player like Mowgli right now? And the answer is you go 2 and you go 3 at a time. It's the only way. You accept that you're going to take a death, maybe even 2, but so long as you come away with his, that is a big part of it. But Eminem there, they've just challenged him 3 separate times individually. They challenge him on study door, and then they challenge him 2 seconds later on study door. He picks himself up a 2k, no problem whatsoever. The solo challenge then comes in onto map store, which is even worse really, because he's got a shield in front of him, so he's playing behind utility as well, and he, guess what, cuts him down and finds himself a 3rd within about 15 seconds. It's just a little bit about timing for Eminem. They need to make those challenges at the same time. If one comes map store and one comes study door at the same time, what does Mowgli do then? I mean, granted, the Mowgli we're seeing today, probably, he just hits them, flicks them on a 180 and kills both of them, but it's very unlikely, and that's what Eminem needs to do, just challenge at the same time.
One of those days. It's mad that he's, 2 4Ks in a row, 9 kills total since the rehost. The rest of the team, 2 kills. It's been a quiet one for most of LFO, but then when Mowgli's literally gobbling up all the possible frags in a round, are you at all surprised? Let's see what Solotov can do, because he's getting himself back into a bit of vengeance by the looks of it. Also picking up the Nook. Neo's playing on the Decabi to assist him as well. Obviously gives someone a ring. They know exactly where they are. In comes the Nook. Bam! No idea that she's even coming from the darkness. So they can do some damage, and we all know who the ideal target is in this round, Tim, but you've got to try and lock him down first.
You got to find him and you've got to shut him down. Like I say, section him off, don't allow him to play. If they recognise that he's inside of maps, they should have a good idea of which operators he plays and which areas of the maps that he plays. So it would be reasonable to make a guess that that is going to be his positioning. But again, giving him those one-on-one challenges at the minute. He's got P4 backing him up from the top of main stairs. And for the time being, he's just going to stay there. Comes a beautiful nade though. And that is a good step one. Solotov takes him down with the nade, but Mowgli comes in and gets the trade, gets the refrag, because guess what? He's challenged him 1v1.
I'm telling you again, Tim, these two just cannot leave each other alone. Solotov finding a wonderful entry nade, only for Mowgli to swing and get the trade back. Oh, early round is their domain. Mainly Mowgli's, but sometimes Solotov as well.
Going to be halfway through the round now with 4v4. Tyrant finds Rise, who just lets himself get a little bit sloppy there, just running up to the doorway. Not much cover, not really ADSing already for the challenge, and that's going to be pretty easy for Tyrant to say goodnight. That's going to be tucked in nice and tight. 4v3. Eminem get themselves an advantage, and I've just got a feeling that this one is going to continue like this all the way to the end. Upside down rappel. Mowgli sees the gun barrel. That's all he needs. That is the information that he was looking for. And when you give him that sort of advantage, Nello, he's going to take it. And that's going to be now 3 versus 3 coming into the final minute.
It's just like watching someone run around in deathmatch, isn't it? It's unbelievable how he's just finding every single kill he seems to come up against. Members of MNM giving him a little bit too much leeway, it feels, in a good number of these rounds. Nades from below. There is no one upstairs. No drones coming in there to assist the side of Eminem. They're just kind of playing blind here, hoping they find someone, but they've already stepped away. Bibu, he knows that he's coming. Is he going to swing it? Yes, he goes for the swing. The timing was almost spot on, but the player did back away. Tyrant almost losing his life again through the hatch. That should be a one-time mistake that you learn from, but Mowgli's on it again. What is this, man? He's had a 4K in the last 2. He's on course for another in this round, if not an ace. Stop him! Someone, please!
Honestly, Mowgli cannot miss at the minute. He could play this game blindfold, it looks like, and he would still be hitting his shots. He knows there's another there. That's going to be the quad. Bibu steal. How many aces is Mowgli going to have taken away from him? That's got to be the question. Another 4K for him. Bibu finding the last man. He won't have any complaints at the minute because LFO, they're starting to stretch their legs and they're starting to cruise towards a victory. 5-3 now there. We'll see if LFO can continue, but basically the scoreboard at the minute, you've got Mowgli on 13, Rise 1, Chinka 1, Bibu 1,
it's ridiculous.
P4 0. Like, that's ridiculous. That is utterly ridiculous. And like you say, yes, part of that comes down to the fact that Mowgli's just hoovering up all the kills. You know, there's nothing else that LFO can do. If he didn't get them, then yes, other players would have got more kills. So there's a bit of both going on there. But like you say, LFO can't always rely on these individual players.
No. And it's something I do want to see improve it. Because I want this team to be, you know, up there fighting it for the top 4 spots, but not in a fashion when it's all relying on one player.
I'd love to see him at a major. The amount of times that they've been close and that we thought that they were going to get there.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to see
it.
Mate,
the number of like the Playday 9 games that they've choked over the last year. Just don't get me started. It kills me. But
I want to see Mowgli there. You know, we want to see our biggest names, our biggest stars on the biggest stage.
No one needs to see a young 18-year-old spirit crush when he comes up against the three frontline fraggers of TSM or against all of Damwon Kia, for example, and just completely crush any hope he had of thinking, yeah, I'm really good. I can kill 3 or 4 people. Only in EUL you can, mate, sadly.
Or when he has the true LAN experience of being run over by a 24-kill game finesse.
It's just, that's the level of competition we're talking about, though, again, which is why I get a little bit, I don't know, worried when it's all down to one player. But we digress. We spoke about Mowgli an awful lot. It's hard not to when he's had 3-4 Ks in a row. But let's see how this next round goes. Hopefully, MNM have learned a little bit of a lesson here. They've got much the same lineup again with the DKB and the knock-on side. Everything else, for the most part, has changed. But that core of trying to be the Roma hunter to shut Mowgli down is the same.
Tyrant going to be deploying the drone, but he's got it on the advanced deployment there, so he can maybe just bait out a sound call, see if anybody's on the main stairs who fancies a challenge, but he was ready for it. There was nobody there. Solitov can get himself inside the vault, likely lock himself down, make himself safe, do a little bit of droning. Mowgli, the man to watch at the minute. There is no two ways about it. He's going to be over on the trophy statuary side, decides that it's time to bail. He's going to go over the handrail, and he's going to look for himself back down on that main floor. And MNM, they've done well here, Des. They've quickly got control over the top floor. They can start working the verticals. They need to be very careful, though, about Bibu on that pulse with the Nitro in hand, because he's also got P4 playing with him as well. So there's 2 cracks at that one.
It's not Bibu on the pulse I'm worried about. It's Mowgli on the Malusi, hanging out towards the west, largely undroned at this point as well. You know, he could play real spoiler here if they're not too careful, because they've ignored where he is at the moment. They're trying to push the way inside of Memorial instead. They are in. They're looking towards the site. Where does he come from? When does the flank start to happen? Pushing in now, looking towards that table. They can get him for a plant. Solotov still largely undetected, but the swing comes in from Bibu. All too easy, and down goes Solotov.
Nice, easy start for LFO, as you say. Rise able to get in on it as well. And this is what we wanted, Des. We wanted more of those LFO players involved, and they are stepping up. They're going to find themselves 1 apiece. Bibu, Rise, and that leaves us now 5 versus 3. MNM can continue their assault from above, but it's likely going to be too little. You just feel like LFO have probably got this site locked down now. Bibu, he's going to get himself to safety. He'll likely pull out that heartbeat scanner again and just continue feeding information in. And Usus, he's just looking for those vertical angles. He can shoot out the top of that wall, but he's not going to get any more. He won't get any access to the man playing in behind it. And right now, it feels like MNM are just trying to push from anywhere that they can. Bibu able to find Neo. Nello gets one onto Rise, but he's got a lot more work to do. 2v4, 8 seconds left to go. Time ticking by, and it's not going to matter as the kills come in. P4, Bibu, and for once, Des, we have a round where we're not shouting about Mowgli. The rest of LFO stepping up, getting that round, and that's going to put them on.
It's like, yay, we got to play Siege today. It's not just to sit in a corner and crouch all day, but no, we actually get to press mouse 1 and shoot some people. Thank God for that. It's one of those that Mowgli got a little bit robbed in red as well. I really thought he'd get the kill, but then Rise like snatched it away from him, and I was just like, oh, poor guy. But I think, again, for MNM there, it was a little bit one-dimensional. They rode everything on 2 players pushing in through Memorial. That was kind of their playmaking opportunity. And outside of that, it was a man jumping in towards Pantry who didn't know about the pulse in there. Really, once the knocker kind of fell away, everything else just unraveled itself, and there was no real threat to LFO throughout the entire round. 6-3, they find themselves. MNM, it's looking pretty dicey. 3 rounds on the bounce needed, and you're going into Aviator Games. It does not look pretty.
Nope, it's not boding well. We saw Aviator Games, LFO defence back in round 7. Mowgli kicked us off with 1 onto Solotov. He kicked us off with 3 more after that, and that was the round done. So MNM need to, first and foremost, keep themselves more alive, and they need to keep Mowgli more dead. Those would be my specific instructions for this round if they're going to have a more successful attack. At the minute, Mowgli is on the roam. He's underneath. He's on the alibi. Going to head himself back up red stairs potentially here. Yep, get himself back up to the top floor and see where he finishes up. Does he open up the hatch? He's given himself plenty of options to get up and down between those floors to be able to rotate around. But Eminem, immediate pressure is going to come on the study side.
Alrighty, Tyrant being so passive at this point, just waiting for someone to come and poke their head out of a window, but for the most part, LFO haven't really been the kind of jump out of windows, throw themselves out of doors style of play for much of this stage, and especially in much of this game. Instead, it's been about planting their feet in a certain area of the map and contesting you at those windows, but not actually getting up against the windows themselves. Arguably because there are so many places that you can be seen from. They are watching them, just in case a certain Mowgli does pop up in front of them. But to stand so far, no one has done just that. Now we can see the focus coming out for these Reteras once more. And recalling back to that first half, LFO used them really, really well. Here they might get rid of that Banshee. That one's already gone towards the right, so one bit of gadgetry gone. They'll be looking for the rest as well to start getting nades up onto this main player, stairs player.
Feels like it was a little bit of caution from Nello there. He wanted to be sure that he got the Banshee and so just didn't send the Retero maybe as deep as he could have done. A jump a stair or two later, maybe he gets himself a little bit of a bonus, a little bit of extra utility there as well, but it's always risk and reward. He managed to get rid of the Banshee, and that will have been the big play. What a shot from Users. Absolute beauty on the reverse angle. Mowgli might have had it all his own way so far, Des, but he didn't have his own way there. He was taken out by Users. That was an absolute beauty. 5 versus 4, and that could be a big step for Eminem. They've got the big threat off the board for LFO, but as the last round taught us, there are kills across the rest of this squad as well.
Oh yeah, still dodging around in sight for now. At least LFO just holding down. A couple more nades, no doubt, inbound from below as well. 5 in the back pockets of Eminem. That's a lot to be using. One's heading towards Vault here. Will Bibby be the target? Now we'll get himself chunked out here as they're getting ready for it. Do they know that he's sat in that back corner? There comes the nade. It's all too easy when you've got this vertical control.
Going to be an absolute beauty. Users having a field day from underneath at the minute. Shinka taking a pot shot onto the south stairs. Not going to find anybody for the time being. Doesn't spot out the drone that's going to be feeding information and probably his location in. And that's how you get those vertical nades. This time it's going to be under the chassis. And Shinka just managing to stray his way away and keep himself safe. Solotov knows that there's a potential peak going to come from behind that soft wall. Doesn't hold his angle long enough to find Rise. But 5 versus 3. Eminem are not going to be too worried here. They get... No, they don't. Yes, they do. I thought the Retero had been shot out just before it anchored them, but it did not. That's going to give them the access that they need. But look at the aggression. The shotgun from Shinka. He finds 2. That could be a round-defining moment, but no. Users Neo, they fought the way back. 2v1. It's all to Rise. He gives him the spray down. He gets him. 1v1. Plant going down. Neo, he's going to stick this. But Rise, what does he do? Does he go? Does he wait? He's going to wait for the man to pop up. I think he sees him. It's all a spray down. Who wins? Neo, after getting the diffuser down, somehow comes away with a bit of a panic spray.
Honestly, like, it sounds bad, but when I saw it was Rise versus Neo, I was like, oh no. Like, I just thought Neo was going to lose it there in that dying second. I really thought either he'd pop up and get himself taken out completely immediately. I thought it would all go pear-shaped, but he holds on and keeps Eminem in the game. Sure, it comes down to the very last second, but a win is a win. 6-4 LFO. 2 more for Eminem to throw us through to at least overtime. And we know they sorely need some of those points, Tim. They are still down in 10th place. They get something from this game. They can at least start contesting with Pones for 9th place, but either way you paint it, it's not going particularly well.
Not at all, not at all. Honestly, I thought Rise was going to win it there. I thought his man just steps up in front of him when he comes off the diffuser, and I thought Rise had played it really well. But Neo with the surprising juke from behind the bar just gave him the little razzle dazzle, gave him the eyes, and came away with the kill. Rise, unfortunate there, but LFO are going to still be in the lead. They've got 2 more opportunities to close this one out. It is match point again, and it will be Aviator Games again. They obviously felt like they were close, but let's not forget they were 5 versus 3 for a long time in that round. Users able to get 2 great kills from underneath, so might be a case of LFO just sending one man downstairs, see if they can shut out that vertical threat.
Alrighty. Well, they know the nades are a problem, and so much so that there are still 6 on side to play behind, and the Flores returns once again. MNM feeling they found the winning formula to work their way through their woes, and given there are 2 shields on the other side, yeah, makes total sense to me. Why fix what ain't broken? Bringing the same once more here, and MNM putting all their focus on trying to work down from this top side, and no doubt that study balcony.
Tyrant just taking out the default cam. Going to be looking to work towards main stairs, but very cautious about entering at the minute. Rise has got that utility stacked up again, pretty much the same as we saw last time. Mute Jammer, ADSs, Banshee, it is all there to keep him in position. Mowgli able to take down a drone now. That is a big start. P4, he's going to hit himself a Nitro out of the window there of Astro. Manages to get himself one, and that's a big start. That's Neo gone, the hero of the last round, and it's going to be 5v4.
It feels like such a kicker when you're the flank watch and you're just waiting for some kind of random crap to come out of nowhere and kill you, and you just get C4'd, and it's like fantastic. Appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. I wasn't even the one trying to breed the primary entry, and you've ruined my day. Thank you kindly. Tyrant with the nade up here on towards that wolf window, and everyone else rotating down towards the south. Follow the grenades, my friends. Follow the grenades, because there are 6 of them on side, and it looks like at least 4 of them are working on being on the downstairs. So once again, those nades will get flying, and hopefully they'll find a couple of picks.
In goes the Rotero for Nello. Does he send it a little bit deeper this time? Not playing it safe and gets his job done again. That's going to be the Banshee taken down. That's the focus of that Rotero. That much is clear. Nade goes in from Solotov. Not going to find anybody, but usually will take a little bit of utility inside of that study door. Bibu all the way down in the basement. He's certainly one to keep an eye on. Could be a real nuisance in the late round if he doesn't leave it too long. Rise manages to find Users, another player who did well last time around in the last round attacking this site. He's not going to have any more joy here, and it is now 5v3 coming into that final minute. 5v2, 4v2 as kills start to rain in. Rise gets one, but traded out immediately. Nello pushing on the main stairs. Does take control of them, and Solotov gets one, gets 2. What a double from him on Study.
Absolutely beautiful. Now if they can turn it into a win off the back of this spot, then you know it's off the back of that man who's still standing as well, so can do a lot of work. It's Shinka dug inside a site, and P4 holding just outside of map's door. I don't think they know that he's there, Tim. Maybe they do. If they don't, he can do so much damage when Solotov comes stepping in towards the site. But with about 20 seconds on the clock, all right, you've had your time to do your droning now. This is your last drone standing. He knows that he's there, Tim. He definitely knows. Is he going to swing him? Solotov doesn't miss those. Finds a 3K, gets the 4th as well. It's a big round to send it to 6 and 5. And by the looks of it, Tim, Eminem could be bringing us through to overtime in just one more round.
I'm not sure how we've got to the 12th round here, because LFO at points have looked like they were just going to crush them, were just going to close it out immediately. But MNM have just clung on desperately to this one and have really kept themselves in it. And that is a huge 4K for Solotov there. Depending how MNM do on the stage, that could be one of the most important moments that they have. That was massive from Solotov to keep them in this. 6-5 now, they've fought their way back into this. They've got one more round to go. Trophy statuary we saw back in round 8. It was another LFO win, but that doesn't seem to matter too much to MNM, as they've just strung together 2 successful AVG attacks. Can they do the same here in trophy statuary? I think one thing they could really do with doing is not having to fight from behind. Obviously, they lost the opening kill last time around, but they were able to keep going and get themselves back into it. They don't really want that disadvantage round after round.
And, you know, Tim, it kind of goes back to what I said at the end of round 9 after Mowgli's 3rd 4K in a row. It makes me nervous how fragile they are when one player's doing all the work. He's not done much the last 2 rounds, and Eminem have won both. Again, it goes to show why you cannot rely on these big hero plays and players playing out of their skin to carry you through games. You need to show that composure if you're going to be a top 4 team, to keep a 10th place team down in the dirt. It's not looking amazing for LFO here, and truthfully, unless we see a massive start to this round out of Mowgli, I can see this going to overtime.
I'd agree with you. I think you're absolutely right. It is definitely a key point, a big factor that, you know, Mowgli has a quiet couple of rounds and they just don't really get much done now then. I'm going to have Tyrant and Solotov looking to get themselves inside of the building. They're going to be going in on the lower floor potentially, going to be hunting down Bibu and Rise. Mowgli is on red stairs at the minute, but he's going to move himself back into sight. He said, I don't know whether it'd be an idea to just get him out on the roam a little bit more, just give him a little bit of freedom and see if he can pick up 1 or 2 of those kills. But for the time being, it's going to be Rise and Bibu on those duties. Solotov going to be sending the drones in. That's pretty much the job of the entirety of MNM right now, as they're all feeding information. Users is the only one moving through the map at the minute. He's looking to get himself to the bottom of main stairs and then potentially push up and start working through Aviator games.
At least it's slow and patient for now. I'm glad there's a bit of composure behind it and not getting overexcited and trying to go in all too aggressively here, working their way on this east side of the map. Solotov is just daring someone to swing on that hatch. And I don't know who's playing above. I think at this point it's Mowgli who's in the area. Yep, okay, he's inside of Statuary, but not in a position where he wants to get onto that hatch just yet. Probably isn't too aware that anyone's pushing in on that side. Meanwhile, Tyrant's working his way in on the west. We've got a bit of a pinch being set up here, Tim. Do they know about it? They're holding the angle. They see the man, but no, he can't quite find him. Neo gets one kill. It's traded back, though. User's going down on the other. P4 into a second. It's not Mowgli getting involved, but the other members of LFO are making it happen. Rise stepping in, swinging and playing for the trade. Brings it to a 3 versus 2. Nello and Tyrant have got it all to do. This Nook yet to get really involved in the round.
Rise allowing P4 the death there, really, because he just sort of went in. He was running rather than looking to challenge, and it was making it a little bit difficult for him to be able to challenge Solotov, and it just gave Solotov that time while Rise repositioned. But Rise gets the kill nonetheless, and he's going to continue the challenge underneath. This time he's up against the knock of Tyrant, and it could be a big moment if he gets this one. But no Tyrant way. Able to level things out 2v2, and again MNM are just able to keep themselves fighting. But Mowgli is one of the last alive this time. Can he break the curse of the last couple of rounds, and can he get in and do something really meaningful here?
That's the one with the plant as well, obviously on the upstairs here. All the walls going down inside a kitchen, but Nello's pretty much alone there for now. Tyrant's fishing from below, finds one as well. That's the nade you need. Shinka gone, but look who's left. It's Mowgli. He knows where one's coming from here, sees the man, gets the one kill, flicks for the second, but Nello gets the 1 versus 1, careers us through into overtime.
Who would have thought it? The way that this one started, let's not forget, at a point it was 6-3 to LFO. MNM have been able to win 3 back-to-back rounds. I won't say out of nowhere, but they've done fantastically well there. And they start on the attack, which has got to be great for them, because that's where they've just had their back-to-back rounds. They just need to keep rolling now. They've got themselves into overtime, guaranteed themselves a point. They could take this whole thing.
Whew. Well, it's something. It's hard to kind of pin where it falls to as well. Like, is it on MNM or is it on LFO? Like, in a way, LFO are going to... Mowgli's gone quiet. We're not seeing that sort of play coming out anymore. Sure, there's been one round that LFO have won quite solidly as a team earlier in the game, but otherwise it's just been MNM finding those critical kills. I know Tyrant's been a bit behind still, playing on that Nook, has always been, 10 seconds behind the rest of the team, but in those last dying seconds of a round, that's where you're seeing some of the impact starting to come through. Has pulled himself up to 7-7. Similar story for Users, and Solotov is still flying, as we know. MNM continue on the attack, and that is where I feel nervous, and it's not something I ever thought I'd say. You're nervous going on the defense first on Villa, but if I was LFO after the crushing you've had for the last few rounds, you're definitely nervous, Tim.
Oh, absolutely. There's no two ways about it. MNM have been able to find them at every single turn, and LFO have been in control a couple of times. They've had the man advantage, and still MNM have kept fighting, and they're showing some of that spirit that got them to the SI. They're showing that ability and that passion to keep themselves fighting here, and it's nice to see, because there's been a couple of losses where you felt like they just sort of rolled over a little bit and didn't show us their best, whereas now there's no two ways about it. You can say that they've been competitive here, win or lose from this point. Solotov, he's going to be looking for a similar entry point to the one that he's used previously, which is trying to get himself in towards kitchen area. Bibu is on the downstairs. He was playing with Rise previously. I don't know if Rise is downstairs with him this time as well or not, but Nello with a sneaky little drone in the bushes there, going to find a little bit of information.
Just a little bit. Not quite going to lead to a death just yet, but all in good time, I'm very sure. Solotov working his way back out now. He's got underneath here, I think, more to make sure no one was playing on the downstairs, of which there is not. No one's quite skulking around. Though I'm sure give it time and you'll find one or two who are doing just that. Probably speaks quite a lot of volumes that Mowgli is playing on site here as well. Isn't the one kind of off holding towards master side and trying to burn through time, for example. No, he's playing much more passively and much more defensively.
MNM just looking to continue their streak at the minute. Mowgli's going to get himself back onto site, and MNM just absolutely tearing across the bottom here. And it's something that LFO need to be careful of, because we've seen them have a real impact from underneath, both Users and Tyrant, finding kills in the last few rounds from that verticality, using nades, using guns, reverse angles.
Hello.
Exactly like that one from Users. But what a start. Rise is going to show that verticality is in the LFO playbook as well. P4 gets one. Tyrant manages manages the trade. Out comes the nade. Can they level this up? We know that MNM can fight from behind, but the movement is too rapid from LFO for them to get caught out by that explosive.
So much back and forth between the verticals there, ultimately balancing into a 4 versus 3 for LFO in that last 60 seconds. Solotov skulking once again. Now, he did find Bibbo on the right side of the vault last time, so don't blame him for trying again, but Mowgli was off towards the left. A small change in player means a small change in position, and things don't quite work out the same way.
Solotov getting himself up those main stairs, looking to start this final push in towards site. 3v4, 30 seconds left to go, and they are going to look to get moving soon. We've got the little walk coming down that corridor. Does he know there's a man behind the bar? Yes, he does. Shinka, he takes a peek. He managed to get two there previously. Unable to find any this time. He's going to try again. Does he find him? No, just can't find the angle, can't find the accuracy as he pumps that shotgun in the direction of Eminem. He sees the man, he sees the barrel, but he can't do anything. There's going to be 2 kills come in, and Mowgli, he's going to find Solotov. 1v3 now, all up to Neo. Not looking good with 3 seconds to go, and surely LFO have hung on. There's nothing he can do. The time ticks down, and that is going to be LFO managing to get themselves that first defensive round.
Ooh, by hook or by crook, they get it over the finish line, Tim. And they are at that match point now. To some level, they'll be kicking themselves that this even got through to overtime, given how far ahead they were after that 4-round flurry that got them to this point. And for Eminem equally, you've had your little comeback. You had your resurgence after things started coming together. Don't let that go to waste. Both teams really wanting to get this over the finish line. LFO with the chance to do that on the attack here. It's going to be a trophy and statutory defense for Eminem. Not going to aviator games like they started in back on their defensive half earlier on. So not quite trying to throw the attackers off because, as we all now know, attacker repick is a thing. But clearly not feeling 100% confident in their defenses in aviator game because they did lose all 3 of them, Tim.
They did. Let's see if they can do things differently here in Trophy. Having a look
they won
back
both.
At Eminem they won both in
5.
Trophy, they did. Yep, 2 and 5. It went well for them. They started out with opening kills. That was
both with the Solotov 3K in them, by the way, I've just noticed.
Both with the Solotov 3K, essentially. They started out with the opening kills and were able to just roll on forwards from there. So Eminem going to be looking for a little bit more of the same, I think, here. They need Solotov to step up and really power them into it, or maybe somebody to take his place. He's had a great game since the rehost, 12 and 7. There's a couple more to add on to that as well. Just chasing down Mowgli, who currently sits on 15 and 6. It's been a real battle between those two for who's going to come out on top here. Right now, Mowgli has the advantage, as does LFO. Question is, can Solotov raise Eminem back up to the challenge?
Getting themselves set up here on their push straight in. There'll probably be questions. I know Fabian pointed this out on the desk earlier as well. They've got 5 drones in back pocket, only 2 out on the field, yet you're all kind of already fishing around the site. So really, you want to be getting that out in the map, start looking for the information, figuring out what's going on.
Rises on the upside down rappel of Astro, looking to get himself on inside the map. For the time being, he's going to hold the angle, and then as the final push comes towards site, he may look to get himself in there and to push through onto site. But for the time being, it's all about opening up this quad wall. We can see the utility going into that. There's going to be the EMP grenades. Tyrant taking a lot of damage, and that does not bode well for Eminem. Solotov this time is unable to find the opener. It's going to be Mowgli in that direct challenge. One big player versus the other, and it's going to be Mowgli who comes away with a knockout punch. It's going to be 5 versus 4 now, with Tyrant on very low health as well.
The thing is, Tim, Mowgli did that exact push last time they attacked this site. He was in through the window, pushed towards a single doorway, but that time, Eminem had someone watching it. What happened this time? Tyrant runs across. No one's watching the doorway, and he almost loses his life. Solotov steps across for the swing. He gets taken down as well. For all intents and purposes, they basically killed off both of the entry players here for Eminem, just through doing the exact same thing they did a couple of rounds ago. Eminem simply not remembering, not adapting to it, and not dealing with it may have just cost them the round.
Very possibly. We're back on the drones. Just Eminem trying to see if they can get any toehold in this, see if they can hold on whilst LFO are just looking for information now. They know they've got time, they've got man advantage, they can use this, they can use the drones, they can see exactly what's ahead of them. Tyrant, super low health, needs to be very careful about his movement inside of statuary there, because he's going to get cut down quickly as Bibu. He just fires in towards clearing the barricade, but he's going to look to move up past red stairs most likely and apply a bit of pressure from that south side. But Tyrant using every one of those hit points points that he's got left to his advantage there, managing to find a kill and level things up 4v4. He takes his eye off the ball for the drone, and he's going to miss his opportunity to potentially hit his man Rise. He manages to find users 4 versus 3, 30 seconds.
I haven't got a lot of time here to play with, but all of these players of MNM have been boxed in towards Astro like wild animals, but Tyrant, he's still biting back. He's got some teeth on him, Tim. It's 2 in the round. P4 going in for the plant, but Tyrant can't step across here. 1 bullet and he's done, keeping himself going until Bibu gets the shutdown. Diffuser down, game likely down for MNM as well, unless Neo can pull off an absolute miracle. Finds 1, still 2 more to go. He's got the right idea. There's 1 out towards Master, not watching the angle. There's 1 tucked into the... Oh, no way does he flick on that. Finds P4's head, not the man you'd be killing, and now it comes down to these 2 backline players. Shinka, terrified for his life, has tucked right inside a closet here. Neo going in for the defuse. Shinka stepping his way forward, comes off, goes for the swing. No way has he found it. Pulls off the impossible. A 1 versus 3 for Neo. Gets the disable. We're going all the way to 15.
Holy, I've got to be honest.
Wow.
Here. I've got to be honest. And this is nothing against you, Neo. If you hear this, I apologise. But I'd put my glasses back on, Des. I had put my glasses back
That's
on.
when you know a game's done.
Diffuser down. My glasses were ready. I was coming back.
By my count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 multi-kill rounds in this game where they've got at least 3 kills or more. It's just absolutely ridiculous. It has been a bloodbath. It has been scrappy is the best way I can describe it, but entertaining all the way through. If you like your FPS, then, well, you're in the right game. Here we go. Round 15, the last one. Trophy and statuary for LFO is where they are going to set up their last bastion of defense. And let's see what MNM bring to the party. Apparently, Tim, the answer is even more nades because Nello is moving from Hibana, which is played for most of the attacks, onto playing the Maverick instead. So 8 frag grenades in back pocket. These boys are dying to play the verticals.
They really are, aren't they? They're just looking to get themselves any advantage that they can without having to take those gunfights. They don't want to lose manpower. They just want to get themselves a nice freebie here and there to kick things off and to get things going. Now then, we're going to have a couple of players on the underneath. There's going to be Rise down there, Bibu alongside him. We've seen this previously and they had quite a bit of success. So something that MNM need to be aware of if they want to get themselves into kitchen and dining, which they're going to have to if they want to put those nades to work, particularly on those vertical angles. Tyrant, he's going to kick his things off. He's got Nello droning him in. He's going to be on the Jackal. He's got the scanner equipped so that he can see if there's any footprints. He'll recognise by now that there's not been anybody down in basement, but he's being very cautious.
You want Mowgli. Mowgli has been the man who's been set off in a side room by himself somewhere, trying to do a bit of work. Here he's crouching at the top of red stairs. You know, slowly as the game has gone on, as he's kind of had those 3, 4K rounds, he has dialed back to playing more around the site itself. But I feel here the added security of having that Jackal and the smokes in back pocket is absolutely what you're looking for. Just, again, playing it kind of the way you should, you know, thinking quite tactically, how can we slow this down and get more control? No. And that's a great way of doing it. They find P4. Tim, is this where the hair starts standing on end? Because it could come to that point where Eminem somehow pull this game back.
MNM fans are sat there now thinking, it's happening, calm down. There is a bit of a way to go for them, but let's not forget LFO were 6-3 in the lead. MNM, first of all, fighting their way back into overtime. They then went behind 7-6. They fought their way back into it with a 1v3 clutch from Neo, and they have still got themselves clung on. They will not be shook off the side of this rock face, no matter what hits them. They are keeping themselves going. We're going to have a direct trade. Could it be any other pair? It's going to be Mowgli. It's going to be Solotov. They find each other, Des. This is almost entwined in fate right now.
Tim, they are basically EUL's new married couple. I think we're off the books now officially. They've just not left each other alone all game long, not just in the entry, but also in who can get the most multi-kill rounds. It's absolute madness. Shinka dug in, and Ney coming in at his feet as well. Just about manages to get away as it wasn't cooked and keeps himself alive at least for another day. Another one may well follow him here, but I think Users is expecting a reswing to come in, but Shinka, he's just dug in deep like, okay, are they below me? Are they going to nade me? Like, what's going on here? I don't feel particularly safe here, guys. Someone help me.
MNM are looking pretty good at the minute. They've got Bathroom and Astro control. They've got the man inside of maps. Bibu has absolutely no idea. He pokes his face into the doorway and it gets taken off by Tyrant. That's going to leave us now in a 4v2. Surely MNM can lock this down from here. Rise. He's aware there's somebody in maps at the minute. He finds his man. Beautiful shot. Almost gentle as he takes down Tyrant. That's going to be 3 versus 4. 3 versus 1 though, as Neo manages to find Shinka. And surely this is all over. Rise. He's going to have to make it a 4K on the round if he wants to do anything for LFO. LFO, they're able to get in. Nello, he's putting the diffuser down on the ground. Surely he sticks it. He doesn't have time as Users finds the final kill. And somehow, from me putting my glasses on, thinking MNM were beaten, I put them on, seeing that they've won.
Oh, so many clutch moments. Nello's 1v1, the 1v3 from Neo. Oh, that game just epitomizes my frustrations with LFO and back when they were known as Fatality, that team for all of last year as well. A game where it looks like they are so in control and should be winning, they just lose. It falls by